is still in Odin's play. But still, as I've said before, this is if it would actually work on my computer. But I have an old on here a little later. We'll see what we can do with that. I finally got something that can record the gameplay. So yeah, finally got some for that, and I can get this. And we'll kind of wait to figure that the theories I've gone over, I'll just quickly review here. My belief is, first off, Molly is, in all honesty, I think she probably died. I think it was something that was a little different than what most people do. I hate my guts for it, but yeah, I think Molly's story is a bit more, there's a bit more to it, and I think that there's also a bit of misinterpretation, particularly with Edie's behaviors. Edie's behaviors were very much understandable. Again, it just had something to drink and right off work. So basically, I think Edie's behaviors were very much understandable for the time period. A lot of people kind of forget what time that Edie was actually working in and, you know, trying to raise her kids in. So that's one of the things that has to be understood at any point, I believe, with these stories is we have to understand what the common practices were at the time. We can't simply just say, okay, well, she should have known better. No, she wouldn't have. What she was doing with Molly was actually pretty tame in comparison to what could have been happening, and would have been. Edie is a little misrepresented in most theories. Secondly, I don't think that Molly died by Molly poisoning. Let's get over that right now. Thirdly, I am still in the you do not check back with my dates. Actually, this might be the ones. I had to use an old notebook for those notes. I'm just curious if I did put. Okay, I got a lot of translations going on there. Oh, I did actually put it. Never mind. I did actually find that I can find her date. So Molly's date of death. That was one thing that we never went over. Okay, so it does say December 13th. 1947. So yeah, and the diary does say December 13th. So it's likely, and that's again from the gravestone, so it's likely that she had to be, whatever she had was affecting her from before. But one of the things I also might point out is it could have been a longer term thing, depending on how long the hallucination was going. And remember also how dreams themselves work, and any kind of time when you're in and out of consciousness, time doesn't act right. So she could have been having a moment of sanity during that time. So for those who are trying to figure it out, Molly, our dear little Molly down over there, she probably might have died by a poison that was longer, that was a long term, or from something else, but I don't think it was holly berries. The sound and everything else says it wasn't. I would say infection would be a good option, and we have to remember that time could have been a little bit more flexible in moving around. Not even due to what she's saying, but just simply due to how she's perceiving time, because she could have actually been suffering for a lot longer, but a few moments of clarity, she's got it. So again, we can put that. As for the time in which Odin would have to get over to different places, I can't figure it out. The time there does not make sense. Was Molly born in Norway, really? Or was she born somewhere else? I can't figure it out. Everything else kind of is pretty much as we've seen it, and just me really admiring this house as much as I shouldn't. I'm admiring it. So we're going to right now continue on to the next room, if we can here. Because I think it did the Odin thing. Yeah, I can't read it, so yeah. It kind of left me out where that was. Just gonna quickly go through, make sure I've read it all. Yeah, not reacting. Okay, just gonna.
Edie keeps
just because I want to see what we do all.
About a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Okay, for those who haven't played this game yet, yeah, well, I'm not spoiling it all. If I can, I'm going to try to avoid.
I haven't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
But, okay, yes, I know. That's very nice for you to tell me. I love it when you tell me. Now, could we just... Okay, I'm just going to over here a little bit and move... Thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Don't go back. Alright, so one of the things I want to point out is I want this to be kept in mind. While I'm not going to spoil what this is about, keep this in mind. And this will be something that kind of comes into an argument that you can easily have with, in regards to this story, because what is, it says a lot about Edie. But as I pointed out, the videos also do, and let's just get this one over.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Okay, and I've already pointed out the binders thing. You have your builds.
She could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Okay, celebration turn. And we can actually zoom in and see if we can get some dates. I cannot read it. I probably should have cleaned my glasses. Oh well.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Okay. Now the thing is that there's some argument as to who keeps doing these little paper figures, if this is Lewis or if this is Edith. So I'm still working on that as well. I have not figured that one out. Someone actually has a good clue and they say who does it. Great. I just missed like some clue. Okay, let's do the K bathroom.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
It was a pretty big trace.
I'd say so, and also noting the wine bottle in here and meds over here. Though I love the detail in this, and in all honesty, if any of these are going to, if there was a game that I thought could really lend well to the VR experience, I think really, in all honesty, Edith Finch would be the one that would lend extremely well. You can easily create the movement without getting a person sick. It's more about taking time to investigate the environment. So I would say this would actually be a better option. I've had to have that more than once, so for those who do have older people in your home, you do know the old chair in the bathtub is not that uncommon. Okay, let's get through this, because I through it before. So even when you went to the bathroom, you had to remember this.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Okay, somebody make this for me. It encourages reading. Yes, I know my DualShock battery is low. Sorry, Binglo's producing that. Okay, so again, favorite place. I would love this. Please, 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 please. I can go straight from my bathroom into secret hobby hole of making this. But at the same time, I wouldn't like the fact that there's a room connected to this bathroom. Okay, anyone can just sneak in or check in for the other direction. Get 3 different directions of entrance. Yeah. How do they make sure, nobody goes the other way? I'd like to know that. I really would like to know that. I mean, you feel like you can see the mechanics even if you can't really, but you can see it's a falls back and it falls backwards, but it doesn't fall forwards, but a person can easily put a pry on the back. Yeah. No questions, but yeah, I'm noting what this is, though. What's with this putty? I guess it was for the environment here because...
Sam, an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Hey, I wouldn't put it down either. Okay? If you can make it work. I'm just not that great with... I need, like, really big film to do this. I'm not good with my tiny little film. Yeah, so I did do at least time with darkroom images. I have no problem seeing. My problem is I need constant noise. That's how I tell my time. Love it. But then you time to sing your name. But you can't sing because, you know, there's other people, so it made it awkward. Yeah, because, hey, if I'm going to do it, I want to at least sing while I'm doing it. Keep my music going. So we get the metronome beat going. Okay, so then you have a lot of these tools. I don't know why, but I love this sector. This is probably because of the old photo thing I had, and it's just like, oh my goodness, dream place, dream place, dream place. Oh, I can remember. And I wasn't afraid of hands and chemicals, because literally I'd been soaked in so many chemicals throughout my life that it's like, yeah, just keep trying to do it. Okay, murder probe, clues exhausted, hint hint, haha. Couple turns, land into native haven. Early work on rail link. So I think actually, I haven't seen too much, but I think that there's actually clues. Now the rail link, for instance, I think is a clue. If I could see what year this was. Because if it's during certain years, that would actually make a ton of sense. I really want to know. But at the same time, you know, you could just leave me here for a long time. And let's see, this one is... Okay, well, that's going to become relevant later. Can't tell what that is. Oh, I think I know what it is. Okay, so some of these will become relevant later. But that's what's really I love about this game is you get that. But seriously, me want to have all this. Be mine. I'm not kidding, I want it. You 400. Oh, our basic. Get your butt over here for 100, although you're not my favorite. I still love you. But if you don't got an accordion, I'm not in. As much. I'm still in. Don't give a shit, I want to do it. Okay, so now, Edie, were you drinking it here? Cause that's a bit. Oh, Milton's been here. So this tells us Milton very sneakily did find his way through a lot of those places, but then that makes us wonder, you know, who put the lock on the diary in the first place, or was there ever really a lock there? I'm wondering how Milton got in here. But trust me, there's going to be some ideas of how he may have gotten in. But now we know at least one. And really after Milton died, that's when they sealed him up. But the fact that he was back here and Lewis and him both knew of this, while Edith didn't, I have questions on this a lot of the time. Because it's like, yeah, if you're a kid, you find your way into those places. Okay, still saying the same thing. So lots of copies of the same newspaper, but probably that's just for the game, trying to make sure you get a horrible game. But there's questions. I keep getting questions from here. I don't know why. No matter how many times I play it, it's always questions. Okay, roll it out. Wait, did you just always put it here so that nobody would notice? Thank you for saving. Thank you for saving. And again, I'm still getting used to where the camera is. Okay, let's get ourselves out of here. So yeah, you'd have those areas, by the way, for VR. Those would be your transitioning points. But what I'm noticing is there's a few of these little darts here. The question comes, were these never touched? Or were these things that he threw out there later? When did those come over there? I'm actually kind of curious because this would show us a lot about Sam's psychology. So what I'm going to kind of try to see here. Okay, so some of them, unless it was an extremely good aim, would be difficult to get around the rope. So probably sometime before the rope, so meaning sometimes before around his brother's funeral, or on the day, that's when this was thrown. Though I don't get why they split this room with wood and carpet. especially with this way. I mean, I guess they just put the wood in the main area and then you put the carpet on the two sides, but even then, why not just go for the full divide? I have many questions. Although, actually, his room's already separated, and you have an area where you can walk in and say, I'm not on either of your sides, so But still, yeah, I have my questions on these. Oh, and these are these old cameras you gotta love. Though, it makes me wonder, is this his own camera, or is this... You know, as later there'll be... This question's gonna come back. So Sam is someone we're going to be seeing later, for those who haven't played. See? Certificate... of... something... Of course, probably of acceptance, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see Sam here is our little army guy. There's the national park. And as much as they say, like, Edith Finch, I'm gonna take a drink here. Okay, I'm gonna drink some of my deep red liquid that you will not know what it is. Hopefully. Oh. Yes. There. So Sam here we see has taken a little bit of his mom's artistic side, but I think it's far more of his father's. And I think with his father is more of a shrug and a okay type situation. So go around here. Okay. Oh my goodness. Send me here. Send me here. Come to me, my darling. I love you. I love you all. There's slides. SLR photos. Oh, he even has the books. If he has some film books, I'm in on this. This is just gonna be, we'd just be buds. Just wait a second. Meet your buds. Lend me your photos. Because this is just too much fun. I mean, the good news is she didn't rope it, like, literally in half, but... Yeah, I can imagine. So one of the things I think on is right now, so here's Sam, and we're going to learn about Calvin here. And we've already heard before Edie saying he had to share a room with his dead brother, so we're going to learn a little bit more about that. But I want to show you one of the coolest things on this idea that would be dangerous, but totally awesome, if I was a kid. So you come up here, and then there's nothing in between this and this other point. If he did, he put it like in a... It was something that was taken down later. But, yeah. As a kid, you know that if there was no bridge there, you would just jump straight down on that thing. You know you would. You know you would. At least at one point, as long as you didn't have fear heights, you do it. So, yeah. I could see maybe my Edie wouldn't want to put the one without a bridge near a certain somebody. But we can definitely see from this the relevance is it was definitely probably not Sam so much who was drinking, and as we all theorize, but I just love trying to see if I can get at Edie sometimes. Okay, and so, oh, by the way, for Sam to use it, it's a reflector. So it's a dish that makes it so we can, instead of having to pay for big expensive lights, we can give you a nice soft light from the back, from a different angle. That just reflects light that's already there. So we want to keep the same color, more or less. We can just use something like silver, or if we want to keep it a little warmer, we'll add a little gold. And that's what that is. It's a really nice thing, and I like it. And I kind of wish I had one, but you can actually, for those who are aspiring photo artists, take a white sheet of paper. You can get a similar effect. Tinfoil 50-50 because it's going to create a little more, because it angles so quickly, so you'd have to have it as flat. This one can be wrinkled, but the way it reflects is a little different, so it works a little nicer. But generally, paper works wonders. I actually just use a big piece of white cardboard, and I can get away with a lot of lighting. Of course, I found ways to get good lighting even with just a flashlight in a completely black cupboard. So, yeah. There's a few different solutions, but the fact that he has one is very interesting. They're not the cheapest things, even in the old days, so I am curious. I am very curious. Okay, so yeah, that's the one thing. You're here with kind of a little bit of a photo buff, and it's like, ugh, I want to be here. I want this place to be real. Give me this as a VR experience. I will spend my day here. I will just sit on the floor looking at all this awesome stuff and imagining. And so try to see if I can outdo this guy and his photos. We can also see football. But we kind of realize this is an athletic kid. He's going to go a little more that way. So yeah, we'll now go on and... Yep. Thank you, Edie. Edith, I mean. So yeah, you have all the different years on there. But let's go and open this.
And that he never talked about him.
Yeah, I wonder why. Sorry, Edie. Wait a second. I pull it off and that falls off? What was that holding on to? I have a question again. Stop doing that. So one of the things is that we have to take a note of something. When we were in Molly's room, we could see it was put back together. It was a nice, neat bed, and if she had disappeared or died in her sleep, that bed wouldn't have been neat. It would have been a mess. Yet here we see it as a mess. Now, I think, because I know this game, we're going to, as we go a little further on, you're going to kind of see where the origin of this is, but this is a good hint as to Edie's psychology changing. So with Molly, it's kind of a guilt trip. And it's not like she's trying to freeze time. It's more of it, there's an acceptance. Molly's gone. Here, this is less of the acceptance in my eyes. You're going to kind of see why, but this especially is less of the acceptance. When you leave a bed undone like this, it's now more than just simply a shrine. It's waiting for someone to come home. Thinking they'll be home in a second, in a sense. There's a little bit more of a, I can't touch this, I can't get near this. Now, again, I am not somebody who specializes in grief. I don't specialize in any of this. But this is something that I feel is very important in understanding who Edie is. She has 2 sons in this room. 1 bed undone, and 1 that was, you know, that's immaculate, but looks like he just left. He didn't come back and pick up any of this. He just left. And this says something about the family as well. So I'm going to get into Calvin's story, and then once we're done, I'm going to come back and we're going to kind of review a little bit more about this room. Not too much, because there's a bigger story I want to get to that I really have someone I know who I need them to help me out with it, because it is tough as nails. So until then, let's go to one of the few stories that can actually get me to tear up a bit, and it's very difficult. Tragic story after tragic story, and yet, since at least age 12 at the minimum, yeah. So, you're not going to really get me too easy, but this is one of the few that does. I'm not even quite sure myself why. Aw, to command center. Make me think of Space Camp. Space Camp away! If it was taking place in... actually, I would love to know how you would make a, woodland fort work that way, but okay. And you're good.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
You got the doses off there a little bit. Okay. Now let's get through Calvin's story here. I can turn it up a little bit for myself.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
Oh, you see Sam right there?
We swore we'd never be afraid again. And he
Sam.
wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
And I'm having to do this.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Albert, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
No.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Maybe after over here.